And we're
I hit the wrong thing.
Oh,
That was a drum roll.
I was waiting for the rim shot, but it didn't happen. All right, so hi guys, it's Saturday night. What the hell? What's going on?
Saturday night, coronavirus, pandemic stuff is going on, so we're just sitting around drinking.
This is true, and I think our YouTube stream is working. I don't know. But you know what? Don't care.
You know what? It hasn't worked in like 3 weeks. So, I mean, if it doesn't work, who cares, right?
I know the quality show they're missing, though. They could be like, you know.
Does
Alan,
anybody
Alan,
even know what
lose
YouTube
your shirt,
is?
man. Lose your shirt.
Yeah, no.
Let's take this
I'm
up a
not.
notch. Ryan.
I want to get viewers, not scare them
Ryan's
away.
not wearing pants, so there's that.
Why would I?
He doesn't wear pants when he's at work. Why would he at home?
It's like I come home and I'm pantless when I arrive and I'm pantless when I leave. I will not be unpanted or panted. I don't know what.
Fuck
So
society
we
and
can't have a
everyone.
beer together physically right now. So we're gonna have a beer virtually. So what's everybody drinking? Ryan, what are you drinking?
Well,
Drinking the same stuff the other day.
I got home from work at 7 and started drinking. So the beer I wanted to drink tonight on this podcast is well past gone. But it was the Soup Brewing Company's Marzen, which is an absolutely fantastic beer. Super malty, which is my favorite. And so that's gone. It's great. So now I'm just drinking Philip in the fridge.
Nice. Phillips Blue Buck.
This is. Let me just double. It is Blue Buck. It's from one of their mixer packs.
Can't open it. Just. Oh wait. Oh sorry. I didn't realize you had the little wrapper on it. Okay.
Little Fat Records. Yeah. Favorite record
nice.
company.
Where is that?
It is a punk rock record label out of
Well,
run by Fat Mike. In fact.
you do have an unnatural and definitely scary addiction to Cat Stevens. So there's that.
I do. I still love Cat Stevens as much as I'm.
Nothing wrong with Cat Stevens. I'm just saying that I remember for years, every time I looked at you had that portable CD player, and every time I opened it up, fucking Cat Stevens records. Like I was like, what, dude? Come on, anything else? You're like,
Nope.
no, Cat Stevens.
I think that time in my life I was on such a huge kick. Like it was just all day long.
I'll never forget. Every time I open that damn thing up, I was always hoping there'd be like something else, like anything. It could have been like, you know, Teddy Bear's Christmas or something. You know, it would have been.
I hid
You know.
that. I didn't want people to know.
Yeah, well, you know, and I gave that one to Alan, and you know, he was just like, quite off.
I still listen to it.
Makes him weak.
I know. There are so many videos on this show of Alan crying. Alan, what are you drinking tonight?
What am I drinking? Okay, so I got gifted this by my 20-year-old son. He went out and bought a 6-pack today. I'm like, hey, could I have one of those? He's like, yeah, sure. So it's from Highway 97 Brewery, which we've never done on the show here. They're
I've
from
never heard of them.
Penticton,
Who
British
are these
Columbia, and it is their salted chocolate porter.
Nice. Highway 97. I gotta write that down.
I've never heard of it.
97 Brewery.
They're new-ish from Penticton, which Penticton, as we know from previous shows, is the craft beer capital of British Columbia.
That's what they keep telling us.
Yes. So
They are a
congratulations,
boutique brewery.
Penticton. Now I'm just gonna try this. I just poured it. Let me sample it.
It was called the salted.
It's good. It tastes like a porter. Let me read the can here because it says it looks like a porter, tastes like a porter, but doesn't feel like a porter, and that's absolutely true. Roasted dark malts are used to create the rich color and flavor, plus a hint of chocolate. Carbonation is minimal, as a good British style porter should be. Overall, it's a lighter texture than you might expect, allowing you to enjoy more than one of these. So it's a bit of a session porter, I guess.
Nice.
Comes in at 6.2%. and the IBU rating is 30, which I'm surprised that's kind of high for a porter. But
I'm just waiting for Alan to stop beaming out or beaming back in. Do you see what I see, Ryan? Do you see like just gray and green stripes on Alan's camera?
I do not. No.
You see Alan? Okay.
I see Alan. There's a very nice glow around Alan's. It is very.
oh, that's
true.
That's just because
that's how he looks all the time. Oh God, that's all we need.
Yeah, it better not be mine again. That's just. I'm not taking you to that clinic again.
So
that's in
kind
short,
of awesome.
It's very good. Cheers to Highway 97. Shane, what are you drinking?
So I'll let you guess the brewery name.
Red Truck.
Red Truck.
But this time I'm drinking their Round Trip Amber Ale, which is a darker beer, ambery sort of thing. Color. It's got it tastes good. It's beer. Although it has a bit of a does it have a description on this side? I don't think they usually do. No. Okay, here's the description of the beer. Return for refund where oh no, that's not. No, they don't describe the beer on this can at all. It has a red truck on it, but that's about it. I've had it before. It's usually when I'm consuming. I mean, the whole COVID thing has changed my patterns, but usually I go across the street and I tend not to have this one, so I tend to head for the IPAs and that sort of realm. But this is actually up to it. I'm enjoying it.
It's looking pretty dark.
Well, it's a darkish amber. It's not that dark though. I mean, it's darkness behind me, so darkness, right. My old friend. So there's a lot of stuff that could be said for beer in general, but for this, oh God, you guys are very colored. Anyway.
So one thing I wanted to ask, because Ryan, you've been with us for a couple of shows now. One thing that we learned early on in the show is that the vessel that you use to drink the beer makes a big difference. There was a beer in particular from Steamworks. It was their cucumber ale. We drank it out of the bottle, and it was gross. I mean, it was disgusting. But then when we put
we
it
would
in
rather
the glass,
die than drink this beer.
When we put it in the glass, it wasn't as disgusting. So, I mean, the glass improved it. So, do you ever use a glass, or do you just drink straight from the can, kind of?
Well, I'm living in Souk, so if you don't drink out of the can, you're considered upper class, and I don't like to put myself, above everybody. It actually depends on what I'm. If I'm just grab a case of the the Phillips mixer pack, it's just out of the can. Doesn't need to go in a glass. Anything I get from a craft brewery, it's going in a glass. Just
fair enough.
One, usually they don't come in a small enough can bottle to drink from, and it's just most do taste better out of a glass. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just a mental thing where you think it tastes better.
We kind of felt like that because if you drink it out of the can or a bottle, your nose doesn't get involved. The aroma cannot hit your nose.
Yeah.
But with the glass, it's kind of, you get both.
Because really, what's the first thing we do when we order a new beer from a brewery? You go.
You sniff it.
Yeah. Well, I think for the beer that Alan that we really picked on was that cucumber whale pumping, whatever the hell it was. I've forgotten. Was it Granville Island? I think it was Granville Island. They made a cucumber.
It was Steamworks.
Was it Steamworks? Really?
Yes.
But it was a cucumber beer of like a cucumbery. Was it a session or a saison? I can't remember. It might have been a saison, but it was a spring summer beer. And what normally happens with or what happened when we were doing when we first started reviewing beer. We would just pop it, can, whatever, bottle, etc. And I think only Alan was drinking out of a glass once in a while. And we tore that beer a hole. And it was terrible. I hated it. And then we had it, I think, I don't know, a few weeks later, maybe, it could have been a year later, but we had learned our mistake. We have to make sure that we use a proper glass, that we have a lot of the aromatics going on, that we actually take our time. And the beer was a completely different beast. It wasn't amazing, but it was definitely, we had not given it a fair shake at that time. So, and Alan's died. He's no longer around. So there you go. So let's
Oh, he's trying. He's trying. Something's going on here. Oh, wow. That is Bad Religion. Yeah. One of the. Oh, good. Thank you. That's. He's. What? He hasn't really done much. Well, he's use of Fizzlum now. There you go. Yeah.
He dropped some tools off at our house, and yeah, he's the best I've ever seen.
So I wonder with the vessel you choose to drink from, if there is a scientific
method
behind it. Because I know when I go to a bar, a Pilsner is always served in a certain glass. IPA served in a certain glass. Blondes are in a different glass, kind of the bowl-like glass. So I wonder if there's something.
I think. Well, I mean, that's a very good question. Let me think about this. So the last time that we
I can see my eyes and nothing of you.
this is getting bad. So let me just reintroduce. But basically, yeah. So I mean, when we started doing the show, we just kind of did it. We didn't really plan a whole lot. But essentially, we look. That's so not what I wanted. We had a sorry, I just got a message from Alice. I'm not sure what he's trying to say, but anyway, but essentially, yeah, we had this ability to not quite. Oh, I don't know what's going on now. He's coming back.
What happened?
Hello.
Hello?
Apparently, I can only do voice on my phone.
That's okay. Voice only suits.
This jerk.
Look at that! You totally left, and then suddenly, that's okay. I'm in frame. Ryan's in frame. Ryan, scoot to your right just a hair. There, that's perfect. There. So now we don't have to watch on.
All right, I'm rebooting.
Anyway, we were talking about the science the science of beer and beer glasses and why they're important, because they are important for many
It depends on the
reasons.
kind of beer, though.
Well, that's
Well-
what we were talking about. Why does an IPA be served in a certain glass? You know,
I have to think that it has to do with the aromas.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, IPAs tend to come in. I mean, now IPAs also have a bit of a thing with them where if they're higher in content, generally you get less of it because they don't want to overserve you. Most
Yes.
places. So, and not to mention that tends to be a little pricier. But for the and those when you get the glass in that sort of thing, it's usually in like a chalice cup, which is the sort of the short. And I'm trying to think of an example, like Harry Potter and the Chalice of Fire, whatever the hell it was called. But essentially, yeah. So you had these
goblet of fire.
goblet of fire, the chalice, goblet, whatever. But I don't think that's a traditional way to serve an IPA. I mean, IPAs when I normally get them, they're in a real pint glass.
Yeah.
But Pilsners tend to come in a Pilsner glass, which are sort of taller.
Tall and narrow.
What is the? There's also the dark beer tends to come in pint glasses, but sometimes you'll get them in I want to say tulip glass, but it's a bigger version of that.
Yeah.
I cannot think of the name of, but essentially, you have all the hallmarks for those styles of beer that always tend to gravitate towards the full pint. I mean, bitters, same thing, but you'll get things.
I'm gonna try and reconnect by video here in just a sec.
Play your roots. So you have the ability to do these things, but or to use these different glasses and get these different glasses, but I can't think of any single. I can't think of any rules. Like, are there actual rules? And suddenly we're going to see a potato. But are there rules? Like, are there really rules? I mean, I don't think so. Like, are there specific things having to do with their the aromatics and how the aromatics play with the glass potentially? I don't know. What is your experience when you've gone places and experienced different styles of beer?
For me, it seems like everybody's serving the same type of beer. So IPAs are in your pint glasses.
Right.
Pilsners are in your tall kind of thinner glasses. So there must be something behind it, or it's just tradition. That's what they've always done, so that's what they keep on fucking doing.
Honestly, I think that it's definitely, to me anyway, I think there's definitely a lot to be said for tradition, because I know that white wine glasses tend to be the glass you see most often. Red wine glasses tend to be bigger and sort of more bulbous, and Alan's dead again. But it's not that he's back, but I don't know. I really do not believe in the science of alcohol in glasses. I mean, this is just really the thing. I can't imagine anything that really makes them smell better, taste better. Not sure.
I can hear you now.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
So, after we just insulted Alan and his entire lineage, which I'm glad we did, by the way. Brian, your insightfulness in that was amazing. But, Alan, is there any science between the beer glass and the beer and our drinking of the beer?
I would say there probably is, but if there is, I'm unaware of it.
Instinctively tonight, when the last one we did, I had an IPA, and I poured it into more of a bigger, taller glass. But instinctively tonight, when I had the more malty, heavier beer, I poured it into a pint glass. I don't know why. They were both sitting in front of me. I just picked the pint glass.
What about boots or or what are the yard glass? You ever tried drinking out of a yard glass?
Not an easy feat.
No, it definitely is not.
The yard glass, not an easy feat.
I see it.
I've never tried drinking a beer out of a boot, but you guys remember Boston Pizza used to have this beer glass. It was called a schooner, and it was like 3 pints of beer or something. It was this huge mug. I mean, it was crap beer, right? I mean, it was whatever they had on tap at the time, which was usually like Canadian and whatever else.
They would like to serve you a Bud Light, and really?
Well, the high class stuff they had was like Rickard's Red at the time. That was the highbrow stuff, which I used to drink all the time, and now I don't know if I could stomach it.
But that's when Rickard's Red was like high class.
Rickard's Red was
like
was microbrew stuff.
Yep.
Even though it's not.
No, it's terrible.
It is terrible. You know, all it is probably Budweiser with a little bit of food coloring in it.
So I just found some science. I'm gonna lay some science on it. Some real science about the science of beer and beer glasses. Okay, so according to this this report here from December 18th of 2014, about 2 months before the Crafty boys were born, why beer glasses matter. Seems pretty straightforward. So, a Louisiana brewery called Abita Brewing, in 2014, paired up with a glass manufacturer named Spiegel, I don't know, it looks German to me, to demonstrate why it is a good idea to drink beer out of the correct glass, the style of beer and the correct glass itself. So, for a long time, apparently, this brewery had been serving beer in wine glasses. They had been giving different styles of wine glass for different styles of beer, and that was ixnayed because, you know, science. So anyway, excuse me. Okay, so what they recommend, and this is why. When you release carbonation from beer, the different styles of beer release carbonation at different rates, supposedly. So, for example, if you have a glass and you're serving an IPA, you want to make sure that the flavors stay fresh and bright, and you need to use a glass, which, by the way, they're spouting off what beer they make, but I'm going to skip over that part. The drinker's palate and the style of glass for their IPA requires that you have a specialty stout glass. Now, the stout glasses are, of course, those, you know, the nice big pint with a little edge on the top, you know, something you'd get like a really dark beer in. So that's what they say IPAs and dark beers have to come in that typical style of pint glass. Now, apparently, because of the shape of the glass, you are able to get more of a creamy and dark mouthfeel provided by the adjuncts that are added into the beer to make all their tasty goodness. So, but what about Pilsners? Why do they have a tapered glass for Pilsners? Well, they have the answer for you. It doesn't really matter. It just promotes drinkability because the beer sucks anyway. I mean, no, wait. Sorry. Let me be fair to these Pilsners. Apparently, the effervescence of the Pilsner is more of a sight thing. You look at the beer and it's more attractive, and that apparently that sort of that shaped glass allows the release of the carbonation in such a way that it makes us think that we're drinking something that's not, you know, pour syrup. So anyway, moving right along. The most popular glass apparently is the tulip glass. It curves inward and then outward at the top, which gives the bubbles the proper places to escape while giving us the proper places to receive, and I quote, receive the beer. This, of course, helps to enhance the volatiles, which are compounds that evaporate from beer that create its aroma, such as hop oils and yeast fermentation byproducts like alcohol. Alcohol's a byproduct? And fruity esters. So, the volatiles, which is the first time they mentioned this, actually this entire article, so, you know, science. You can basically enhance the volatile smell by swirling the glass. And of course, a tulip-shaped glass is able to swirl beer similar to a wine glass, so it doesn't spill out over the top due to its shape. If you tried to do that with a pint glass, nightmare. So
I think somebody's been overthinking things.
there you go. So basically, wider at the top and thinner at the bottom is for attractiveness and for dark beers, and then for beers like IPAs, as well as, I'm assuming this beer that I'm drinking, you want to have a slightly closed top so that the aromatics can, of course, punch you directly in your face. So, there you go. There you go. That supposedly lands some science on you, boys. That's how it works. So, I mean, I agree. Definitely the volatiles that escape from the beer when you're drinking it are going to be a far more controlled and directed into your schnozzes by the glass, I guess. So
I just want to backtrack just a little bit here because you mentioned about that a beer tastes like horse piss or horse urine.
Oh, they were raving about Pilsners being like really awesome, and I skipped over an entire paragraph because Pilsner. So there you go.
Wouldn't that be a great name for a beer? Horse urine?
Sure.
And now from
the Crafty Boys Brewing, horse urine. I don't know. Something tells me that just screaming to the liquor stores would not happen.
I'm a Pilsner guy. I'd buy it.
You're
Okay.
a Pilsner guy and you admit it?
Yes.
Oh man.
So sad.
So what's
I
your
don't know what we're gonna do with
what
it.
is your beer?
What is my
Right.
beer?
Like, if
what's your go-to?
your desert island beer?
Oh, Coors Banquet for sure.
Pardon, I have to throw.
I'm so happy there was a good 5-second silence there. I do like light beers.
Really?
No, most of your regular light beers like your Molson's and Bud Lights, Coors Lights, they're terrible. Like
That is true.
truly terrible. But like my favorite brewing company, Zug Brewing Company, their German Pilsner or Vienna Lager are fantastic. They're
Okay.
light, but there's great flavor in them.
Okay. I'm willing to try them. I definitely. I mean, the reason that I am not a Pilsner fan, I'm not a huge lager fan, is that the beer that I normally associate with those styles of beer are generally they're mass produced, not great
Mass-marketed.
beer.
Yeah.
So a
It
lot
reminds
of,
me of the beer that my dad used to drink when I was a kid.
yeah,
Yes.
like my dad was a drinker of extra old stock, which I don't think I've had. Maybe I have. I don't.
You
remember.
probably have.
I don't recall, but generally that's what I associated with beer growing up, right? And I also associated drinking beer with my dad drinking a beer outside once, and it was in those little stubbies. Remember the stubbies? And he was doing something, working on the house or something, and I don't know, I was younger than 10, I remember that. I must have been 6, 7, 8, something like that. Or as I call it, BK. But I remember him grabbing the bottle and swinging a thing, and there was between his previous swig and the swig he had just taken, a bee had landed in the beer inside the bottle, and he had just pounded back the bee, which of course stung him on the inside of his mouth. And one of the things my dad is allergic to are got bee stings. So I seem to recall he had to go to the hospital for that one. But yeah, there you go. It was not great, but it was burned into my mind that was what beer was about. You get stung by
whenever you
insects.
see extra old stock now, you are traumatized by the fact that you think you're going to get stung by a wasp.
It's really weird when you're curled up in the fetal position in the middle of a liquor store and they're asking you what's going on, and you just keep screaming, the bee, the bee. And
Do they even still make extra old stock? Like,
oh, of course.
Can you still get it?
Hello, Google. Extra old stock. Yeah, there we go. Extra old stock. Cheddar? What? Sorry. Wait. Wait. What? I said extra old stock cheddar. I must bite. I want to know. No. There's a cheese called extra old stock. Who knew?
Oh, okay.
But anyway, here you go. But not made by was it O'Keefe? Doesn't Molson's make it now? Anyway, basically, yeah. So here you go. So it's an American malt liquor. Remember that, Alan?
Yeah.
And 2.9 out of 5 on the old Beer Advocate website. I used to drink this when I first moved out of my own in Alberta. It was the malt liquor for the Cowboys. Blah 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 blah. Do not recommend this beer. Anyone who likes a light Pilsner style beer for hot days or looking for smoothness, this is not the beer to have. This is a heavy tasting strong ale with the rough edges that the ice process was invented to remove. So he's basically saying iced beer is better. Remember that whole thing with iced beer?
Yeah.
Like 25 years ago, like it was everywhere. I hated it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It didn't really taste any different to me, from what I recall. I mean, I was a new beer drinker at that point, but it didn't really taste any different.
Yeah, I remember not liking it at all. And at that time, I was a Molson Canadian. It was Canadian all the time. That's all I drank. And that ice beer came out. It was shit. And Canadian is shit. So if ice beer is shit compared to Canadian, it's bad.
So do you still drink Canadian?
I haven't had a Canadian in probably at least 10 years.
Okay. Because I remember you used to drink it quite a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not suggesting you had a problem or anything.
Oh no, I do.
But whenever we went out, whenever we did our improv shows, afterwards you always had a Canadian.
Yeah. But we didn't have many choices back then.
No, but I mean we did have some choices. I mean,
when you asked what was on tap back then, it was Canadian, Blue Light, Bud Light, and that's about it.
Are you talking about the Georgian Dragon specifically?
Almost anywhere, but the Georgian Dragon definitely.
Okay, I remember they always had Shaftesbury Black and Tan.
Oh, okay, yeah. That was fancy for me back then.
I have to give you something I just discovered while googling extra old stock. There's a beer reviewer by the name of beercrank.ca who's actively reviewing beer. He's been reviewing beer for a lot longer than we have. And where does he live? He's in Manitoba, it looks like. But he reviewed a beer called the Black Label Extra Old Stock, which he did this review in 2012, and he suspects that it was older than 2007 because he looked, the brewery I gather on the label was in Edmonton, and he knew that Molson Canadian had closed down their brewery in Edmonton in 2007. So either he's saying that either the label hadn't been updated or the beer was really, really that old. So, but the title is what caught my eye. He refers to it, and this could be a thing he does, but he refers to it as Skunkworth's barley slime. So it was bad-ish. Definitely it made his Skunkworth list. So along with Stone Cold Draft, brewed in Manitoba, Keystone, and Bud Light. So you can tell that this beer did not rank highly in his world. But he's now one of my favorite reviewers because, oh my god, to have a list. If you make Skunkworth Barley Slime's list, we have to make our own list, I think, that indicates our love or loathing of a beer.
The thing is, we don't really loathe any beers that we do. Like, except for like the malt liquor episode.
That was one of our better episodes, yeah.
That's one of our better episodes where we did Colt.
We had Colt 45.
Oh.
We did the Extra 800. There was a third one. There was a third one. I think. Did you?
No, we just did the two.
It was just those two. I thought there was another one. But yeah, they were brutal. I mean,
You finished yours.
I finished mine. I got really slammed.
I haven't drank that
one.
shit since high school.
Yeah, well, we'd been talking about whether or not malt liquor was really a beer. However, when we did our research beforehand, apparently it's because it is beer that is over 8%, I think it was.
In the U.S.
In the United States, it has to be called malt liquor. It's not allowed to be called beer. So that's apparently where this all started in the States. And yeah, so we had some. It was terrible, and I still regret drinking it. But I also don't regret drinking it because I'm glad I did for the experience. Because I got to get drunk online, and we all know that happens.
Speaking of drunk online, I'm gonna see if I can get another beer here. 1 second.
Go get it.
Jess, can I get another beer, please?
Let's see if this works. We're gonna see if this works.
I don't think I'm getting another beer, and I
ask her to make you a sandwich.
Oh, can I have a sandwich as well?
Oh, we're such cliches. What was her response to that request?
That was a big fuck you.
Okay. But the beer's still coming?
I heard the fridge open.
Oh. Well,
Oh.
hey. At least
But I
that's...
think she was going to get herself a Palm Bay as well, so...
so it was convenient for... Okay.
It was convenience. Yeah.
Oh, look
Total
at there.
convenience.
Oh.
The beer's arrived!
Oh.
Oh, yeah! And now Ryan is dead. Oh,
Domestic violence.
Look, kisses on his tushy.
Call for help. I'm not okay.
Let me call the 911 operators and soup. Hello?
There's nobody there.
What? Why am I getting it's getting busy? I got a voicemail. What? I don't understand.
You don't want to call those guys. I handed it off to them today when it's not a good crew. Don't get
Okay. Oh jeez. I better pour the rest of this on the floor. Yeah, so the definitely the malt liquor experience was worth it. And but yeah, I actually had never had it before. I had steered very far from those. And I have to admit, every so often you kind of look at them and go, how bad could it be? Only $1.99 for a pint and a half.
And then that's how bad it can be.
It can't be terrible. It's just
You know what
value.
was cool about it? What was cool about it is it was a viewer request. I mean, we don't get a lot of viewers, and certainly not any requests. So it was kind of nice to have a viewer request. So
They're definitely
that guy seemed to get a bit of a kick out of it. So whatever.
Something got a kick, and it definitely was my liver. But oh Lord, what's the one I'm thinking of? The Colt 45. I don't think I had that. I think you and Dave had that.
Yeah, we had the Colt 45.
And I think we talked quite extensively as to the Lando Calrissian love for the Colt 45. Where throughout the 70s, I think, he was a Colt 45 representative. And then after, I think it was it Solo or was it? It was one of the movies. I think it was Solo. A couple of years ago, that he was suddenly on, again the poster boy for Colt 45. And
Really?
I did seek out some of the TV commercials that he made, like Colt 45. May the force be with you. No. But essentially, yeah, it was amusing to watch Lando shill beer. So
I can be honest with it. If Lando's pushing Colt 45, I'm drinking 45.
it's true. I mean, it definitely is a beer that your body will enjoy.
I may not like it, but fucking Lando says it's good.
Anything Lando says means quality.
That guy's trustworthy.
Honestly, he is. I mean, you look at the guy and you just what do you want to do? Just drink beer. I mean, come on.
You know what? I trust Lando Calrissian. I shouldn't trust him. He almost sold out Han Solo. But I'm not drinking Colt 45 again, ever.
I'm trying to make an election poster out of that grouping. Let's see. Calrissian Ren, 2020. Like I'm trying to think, who else would Lando Calrissian want to actually run for office with? I would say Solo, but
I'm
he's
kind
dead.
of wondering
right?
if you should make like sort of like wasn't he also Harvey Dent in the?
That's true. He was Harvey Dent in
Batman
the first Batman
movies.
movie. That is right. And then he was recast for. Wasn't it Batman Forever? Which was the one that had Iceman in it?
It doesn't matter. It was
Batman Revisited or something.
I'm still in therapy over it.
Yeah, I gotta say that experience of having to stomach through. I don't think I actually watched the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I never have. I watch clips on like YouTube and stuff, but I never forced myself to watch it. I'm kind of happy with that.
I've never seen it beginning to end. I've seen pockets of it.
Right.
Never had the stomach to watch that.
Everybody
I watched it in
chill.
the theater. I paid money and
You
saw
paid
it in
money?
the
Wow.
theater.
Oh,
I can't remember who I went with. I could have swore it was you, but
No, I know that it definitely wasn't me because there's a video channel called CinemaSins that I watch once in a while, and they do reviews of films as a movie channel would, and the part where they took what was the one where Batgirl showed up? Was that the same film?
it's the same film.
Yeah, so they
did everything in that film.
They had two scenes in that film where they're standing around talking about something, and it's Clooney and Boy Wonder and Alicia Silverstone and the guy that played Alfred, and there's this weird discussion of something that I can't remember the context to, but they're talking, but they're all standing around very uncomfortably. And they look uncomfortable. Like the actors themselves look like, why are we doing this? And he just said, I'll play this clip for you, and I've not edited this at all. This is what's in the movie. And it was painful. And then they skip ahead to some battle scene on an ice rink or something. And there's a credit card commercial in the middle of it, where like the henchmen are running around beating each other up and whatever, and Batman's beating up people, I guess, and then he whips out a credit card and it says the line "Never leave the Batcave without it," and I'm like, that wasn't actually a commercial, that was in the film. So yeah, I gotta say I was horrified that kind of stuff happened. And then I watched an interview at some point with the guy that directed the film and made it, whatever the hell, the cartoon guy. What's his name?
Joel Schumacher.
That's the one. And he actually apologized in this thing. I didn't intend to make a terrible film, but I guess I did. And I'm like, yeah, did you see the one before it? Because that was better. Anyway. I'm pretending Val Kilmer's Batman was, you know, worth watching.
No. it
Did Val
wasn't.
Kilmer have Boy Wonder in it as well? It was Robin?
No, I don't think. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
What was the one with Jim Carrey?
Hmm.
Wasn't that the one that had Val Kilmer in it?
To be honest, they're kind of a bit of a blur.
Yeah, I have no memory.
It's after the last couple Batman movies, it's so hard to go back and think
that they're ones. I gotta look this up because I'm really confused.
It's hard to go from Tim Burton
Yeah.
to Joel Schumacher.
That is true. There's so much Batman lore online. Can I just have the shitty films, the actual garbage ones? Although, granted, I have not watched I watched Man of Steel, and that was it. I really did not want to see B versus S or whatever the title was.
You know what?
Yeah?
I actually enjoyed that.
Really?
Batman vs Superman.
Interesting. Well, maybe I should give it a chance then.
Yeah,
because-
it wasn't.
No,
Sorry,
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
It wasn't great, which I kind of knew going in that it wouldn't be great. But it was. I went in with such low expectations that when it was done, I was like, "Oh shit, that didn't suck."
Well, I gather that the ones after it really sucked. I understand that the Justice League was that the third one. I hear that was really bad. I actually saw. I watched a video that was like an analysis of why it failed, and they
So it didn't have the Wonder Twins.
Yeah, form of water. You can never go wrong. And Gleek. You need to have Gleek. I'm sorry. Gleek is the hero. But they had. They were comparing it to. They're trying to compare it to like Endgame or Infinity War, and they basically picked both films apart. But the sort of the final word was that nothing really mattered. There was no point.
Nope.
No hero was in danger. There was no stake to saving the day. No one gave a crap about what Steppenwolf wanted. Essentially, he was just looking for the bargain basement Infinity Stones. But he just wanted them. There was no reason for him to want them. It was like, I have to have power! Why? I need power! Well, you must have a motivation of why you want power. No, I don't need one! And, you know, that was basically a conversation with the screenwriters, I guess. But, yeah, it was not good. And I've never seen it, and I can tell by the clips that it's not great.
Well, I think the difference is between like Infinity Wars and Endgame. There was a purpose right from the beginning. Like 10 years before that, they had a plan. It was set out.
Yeah.
DC went, yeah, we want to do that, but they did it in such a shitty way.
Let's
that
not plan anything.
It was like,
Well-
"Oh, man, we're just gonna throw some stars into this, and it's gonna be good."
Exactly. Well, like, what do they call it? Mustache Gate, where the guy that played Superman, I want to call him Harvey Keitel, that's not his name.
Henry Cavill?
Cavill, that's right. And I guess he had gone on to film whatever the last Mission Impossible film was, and his character had a mustache, and they brought him back for reshoots, and his contract for the other film said you cannot shave this off at all, in any way, shape, or form. And so they had to digitally remove his mustache, and I gather it looks really bad, and just weird and odd. But what are the other films I'm thinking of? The Mustache Gate. I'll think of it. But there's another series of films. Oh, the latest Star Wars trilogy. I watched about half of Rogue One today, this afternoon, and realized that as much as it's threading that balance between fanboy film and is this story really one that we need to be told, because we already know the plans arrive, blah blah blah. So do we really need to have the long extended idea for this? But I was actually gaining. Since I've watched it a couple times, and even today, just watching about half of it, I was actually realizing what a much better film it is than the other three Star Wars films, because of the reason that you brought up, Ryan, that they didn't have a plan. It was like, let's have this kernel of an idea, let's make this film, the first one, and I'm okay with the first film. I fanboy all over me. It had been a long time since we had a Star Wars film. It didn't have to be amazing. It just had to be basically the same stuff. And guess what? That's what we got. But the second and third one, there was something else that the writers wanted to tell, but they didn't quite know how to tell it because they had been already written into a corner, and they just they just kind of said, you know what, let's just write this script and be done with it, and when they ask us to write another one, we'll write another one, and we'll maybe try and connect it together, and it fell apart. And so, I mean, the foundation was rickety, and what came after definitely collapsed. But I'm hoping the next films, I gather they're making another another trilogy.
What happens is, I think the problem falls apart when you don't have a core person watching the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Marvel universe, going right up from was it the first Iron Man movie all the way to Endgame, you had, I can't remember his name, Kevin Feige was the producer. He had control of all of those, so there was continuity. There was a perfect story going right through. Some of the movies, yeah, they weren't as good as the others, but overall, it was a 12 to 15 year plan.
Yeah, and I mean, he's still doing it. Like, he's still
executed beautifully. This new Star Wars trilogy, I was so excited for the first one.
So was I.
And when it hit, it was good. I liked it. And then I go back and I watch it again and I'm picking it apart. Rogue One, I really liked Rogue One.
I like Rogue One, and the thing is that I
love Rogue One.
Yeah, it was the story that we didn't need, but it was told well.
And it had. I think it's a story we did.
Really? How so?
There was that small gap in between. Like, how did they get the plan? It was
actually,
just one of those, it was one of those throwaway lines.
Many Bothans died.
Yeah, it was one of those throwaway lines in. We got the plans for the Death Star. Well, how the fuck did you get that? And Rogue One told it. It was beautiful. And I love when heroes die.
Yeah, I have to admit, that was an incredibly brave choice. I mean,
happy endings are great, but when things like that happen, it's like, thank you.
Well, what's his name? The actor's last name is Diego. The guy that died on the beach with what's her face? That with the Queen. That's how I know her.
I don't know. Cassian Andor.
But he's getting a TV show on Disney Plus.
Yes.
It's like him. How did he become that sort of renegade? Incredibly not opinionated. It's the wrong word. Driven. Have to save the world or have to save the universe, kind of the galaxy.
Kind of the dark hero.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited about that. What did you think of
you know what I liked about Rogue One that I didn't like about the rest of that new trilogy is the humor. The humor in it was very similar to the humor that you'd find in the original trilogy.
Yes.
Whereas the new trilogy that came out, the humor was very geared for children. It was very overt. It was very in your face. fart jokes or whatever. I'm not saying there were fart jokes
No, but-
specifically.
Well, remember the
But it was-
leaking scene where Finn was leaking? I think it was in the second film.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a throwaway joke, but that was definitely aimed at children. Like,
Yes,
just the
for
way
sure.
it was. It could have been done where adult audiences would have gone, "Oh, that's funny, huh?" No, it was very much just kind of again another toss away. But
Well, I mean, I don't want to crap on The Last Jedi because everybody's done that, and I think Rian Johnson has proved that he doesn't really like Star Wars, but the stuff of Luke Skywalker throwing away the lightsaber, or when he's showing Rey the Force and everything, and she's closed her eyes, and he's got that twig, and he's like rubbing her nose with it. He goes, "Oh, do you feel that? Do you feel that?" She's like, "Oh, it's Force." Oh,
no, it's my junk.
that's not Star Wars humor. That's
The whole trilogy should have been left in the hand of Dave Filoni.
yes.
You know what? Dave Filoni and I can't. The guy from Swingers.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
The Mandalorian. Dave Favreau. John
Favreau. Yeah, John Favreau.
Oh yeah.
If it left in the hand of those two dudes, I think it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But it was just left in the hands of a whole bunch of different people. You do this one, you do this one, you do this one.
I'm
And
looking
it was clear by the third movie that they had no overall plan. It's like they made one movie and said, "Okay, well, then we'll make another movie, and then another one after that, and we'll see where we go." And that obviously isn't going to work. Now, to be fair, in the original trilogy, that was kind of the same thing, where George Lucas had an idea for a trilogy, but that trilogy took place over the course of the entire first episode 4, because you didn't know if he'd be able to make another one after that one. So when that one became a huge success, then he kind of had to fly by the seat of his pants and make another 2 movies. So
But at least he was in control of those other two.
true.
So the continuity was pretty good. When you've got 3 different just writers and directors, it was a mess. I mean, and now with the new Disney Plus, and the only reason I got Disney Plus was The Mandalorian,
Mm-hmm.
and holy shit, was that good!
So good.
Like the
Do
first.
you still have Disney Plus now that you've watched The Mandalorian?
I've watched The Mandalorian 3 fucking times.
Really?
I think I watched the first episode at least 3 or 4 times because I wanted other
That-
people to watch it. I was like, "Come on, you have to watch this now."
That first episode, like when he comes through the door, that soundtrack alone in that first episode, that weird westerny kind
Oh
of
yeah.
sci-fi western kind of sound.
Yeah.
I was hooked. I was like, holy shit, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going to the last episode of The Mandalorian. So there's the big reveal at the end there, but you would only get that reveal if you've watched the Clone Wars and Rebels cartoon series.
Yeah,
Shane, I know you have not watched Rebels.
I have not watched Rebels. I am in season 5 of because I watched 1 today of Clone Wars. Then I will watch Rebels after that, and then now you tell me that Resistance kind of sucks. Is this true?
Yeah, I watched 2 episodes of Resistance, and that was it.
Resistance isn't very good. Clone Wars, some of the best Star Wars I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it, especially. I mean, I just finished the whole thing about the planet where Dudeface came from. At the end of Solo, Dudeface. I keep calling him Dudeface. I keep wanting to say Kylo Ren. Dual lightsaber wailing guy. What's his name with the spikes?
Darth Maul?
Thank you, Darth Maul. My God.
Dathomir.
Yeah, because I had to skip ahead to figure out why exactly Darth Maul was in Solo, and what the hell was his deal, and so that kind of spoiled a few things, but whatever, it's okay. I'm still going through it. But
And Darth Maul is in Rebels too.
Yep.
was he really?
Yeah,
Interesting. So I mean, I've been enjoying them, and you're right. It's some of the best Star Wars stories out there because you're able to enjoy stuff within the context because you already know what's been before, you already know what's going past, and having those stories told. So maybe I'm seeing what you mean about Rogue One.
And an Easter egg in the last Star Wars movie that came out, Episode 9. In the final battle where all the Rebel ships show up. And Shane, you won't get this because you have not seen Rebels. But the Ghost is in there. So, and which is interesting because Rebels takes place before Episode 4, which means that the Ghost is still around through all of that, through the whole thing.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Haven't a clue, but that's okay. I'll get there eventually.
And that's why I loved Rogue One, Rebels, and Clone Wars because it was gap fillers. It filled in all these little tiny stories, and I'm very excited because apparently in Mandalorian Season 2, Ahsoka Tano's coming back.
I saw that they actually cast.
Who's coming back?
Ahsoka Tano.
Oh, that's right.
She's been cast.
Okay, they should have the original voice actress player. I think.
I would love that. That would be awesome.
She's pretty hot too.
Yeah. So I gotta be honest, I'd be happy with her having her own series.
Ashley Eckstein.
I'm surprised she hasn't, to be honest.
She's one of the best characters out there.
Oh, totally.
Like in the last, I guess 5 or 6 years in this universe, she is unbelievable.
She truly is.
Rosario Dawson, that's who's going to portray her.
Rosario Dawson's going to portray her, but I think it should be Ashley Eckstein or Eckstein or.
Yeah. I think Rosario Dawson will do a good job, but yeah, you're right.
Sure.
That one's right.
Ahsoka Tano was in Rise of Skywalker? Apparently she does a voice.
It was a voice. Remember at the end there when Rey hears all the voices for all the Jedi?
Right.
Her voice was in there.
Interesting. Yeah, has season 7 of the Clone Wars come out yet?
Yeah, it's all done. I've already watched it.
Okay. So I was just curious if it had actually showed.
Well, it's kind of funny because I watched the first 3 episodes and then we canceled our Disney Plus.
Oh shit!
So I'm only 3 episodes into it, and I'll get it again probably in the fall, and I'll watch them then.
No, that's cool. And of course, to end off our conversation this evening, since we've been streaming for just over an hour, what do you think of a Sparkling in the Sunshine Batman?
What?
The new Batman. The new No?
There's a new
Batman?
You know the next Batman film that's coming out?
Who's playing Batman in this one?
Oh my god, okay. Let me bring it up here, I'll tell you everything.
Is it Affleck again?
No, Affleck is done. Affleck quit. He didn't actually want to do it anymore because he was feeling that he had done what he wanted to do, and he said he was quite bored.
Better than I thought he would be.
So the next Batman film comes out June of 2021, so next year.
Is Alan going to be Batman?
Alan will be Batman.
Yes.
However, it's probably going to be longer because of the COVID problem. Robert Pattinson is playing Batman.
Oh, no way.
I'm out. Right
Twilight
there.
guy?
Twilight guy. Yes, he is.
Is he going to be like...
Apparently, Christopher Nolan told him he had to do it because he felt he would be perfect. Because he worked on with him on a different film that comes out later this year. But essentially, so the Zoe Kravitz is playing Catwoman. The villain being played by Paul Dano, which I'm kind of excited about, is being playing the Riddler.
I do like Paul Dano.
Jeffrey Wright is playing James Gordon. John Turturro is playing Falcone, or Falcone, depending on what universe you live in. And of course, Penguin is being played by Colin Farrell.
Danny DeVito.
Colin Farrell, and Andy Serkis is playing Alfred Pennyworth. So there you go. So basically, they've recast the entire cast. Supposedly, it's going to be the same universe as the Affleck one.
But can Andy Serkis do anything but motion capture? Is he able to actually act?
Well, did you see him in what's the film where he played the he got whacked in Black Panther? What's the film he was introduced in? Civil War, maybe? I can't remember. But he played that army, or not the army, the arms dealer with one arm. Had the robotic arm thing going on. Anyway, but you haven't actually seen the photograph they released of him, of Pattinson in the suit.
Is he going to be all angsty and?
I'm sparkly. It's a different look. Let's just leave it at that. I definitely recommend you check.
Wait. He's not going to be drinking blood, is he? Like vampire and bat thing?
I hadn't thought of that, but maybe. You never know. It's being directed by Matt Reeves, who has directed things such as Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes, Under Siege 2, Dark Territory, Cloverfield. What else? He directed a lot of Felicity, the TV show, which of course was J.J. Abrams' show. So he has talent. He's got some oomph to him. So I'm very interested to see what they do with it. I'm not sure about the casting of Zoe Kravitz. I don't know. She doesn't seem old enough somehow.
I just looked up a picture.
The cowl's definitely very different. Yeah. But you know what? But here's the thing: is I don't quite understand where it is in his thing. Now I gather, from what I understand, is that it's supposed to be him within the first couple of years of being Batman. So kind of year one sort of territory. If you've read year one. So
that's the problem with DC. They have to keep going back to remake year 1, 2, 3, or 4 Batman's life because they fucked up so many goddamn times. Is this going to be any better?
Did you watch Gotham?
I really enjoyed Gotham.
Okay, I enjoyed it as well. I was really apprehensive, but by the third, fourth episode of the first season, I was like, you know what, this could actually work.
I did not start watching it till probably a year ago.
Oh, really?
I was like, I'm not watching this shit. And then finally, I got bored enough. I watched everything on the internet. So Gotham was next, and it was actually
I was pleasantly surprised. It would have been I don't know. I was expecting to hate it, but as I said,
I was too. Yeah.
Now, speaking of Batman, yesterday I watched a clip of all these celebrities who had appeared on the original Batman TV show from the 60s. 60s. And but only the people who had appeared when they're climbing the side of a building, and the window opens, and it's like, whoever. My favorite is Sammy Davis Jr. I gotta say. He showed up twice.
Huh?
But yeah, so Batman is not going to go away, and I certainly hope that I hope that they look to the future and try to, because I think we've been, with the exception of the Nolan trilogy, we've not had a long-standing Batman series of films, around that universe. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen it, I do highly recommend the series for Harley Quinn right now, the animated one. Very, my neighbor, who is like a huge comic book guy, said, "Have you watched this?" I said, "No," and he left my place, went next door, got out a USB stick, and brought me like 3 episodes, and I tore through them. They were that good. So very sort of reminiscent of the Batman series from the 90s. That kind of feel to it, but with a no holds barred killing of people and F-bombs every 10 seconds. So, I do recommend it. It's quite good. On that note, thank you all for the several viewers we had this evening on a Saturday night random show. I don't know what the comments that we got. One from Sakofa Habar said, "This group only for boy, more beautiful." Don't know if that was a request to get girls on the show, maybe, or we were more beautiful. Not totally sure.
I think she probably wants Alan to wear makeup or something.
I would hope so. A wig would go quite a ways.
More makeup?
And also somebody on Twitter on our Periscope stream said, "Can you play Electric Avenue?" I don't know what that means. We were talking about Star Wars at the time.
Avenue.
Apparently, yes.
Gonna rock down to Electric Avenue.
Anyway, and of course my sister commenting, "Whale humping." So I told them,
"Go, Kristen.
Go, my sister." So anyway, Alan, I have to fall over. I'm tired. Beer is good.
Okay.
Take us out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn this thing off.